Today's topic is fertilization. In the chapter 3, human reproduction. So, in the previous lecture, we discussed about spermatogenesis, oogenesis, menstrual cycle. So, the next topic is fertilization. Human fertilization is internal fertilization. What do you mean by internal fertilization? The sperm and egg are fertilized inside the female reproductive system. So, we call it as internal fertilization. And what is fertilization? It's a process where the male gamete comes and fuses with the female gamete, results in formation of the diploid zygote, right? This is called fertilization. Now here we are seeing the female reproductive system. This is a female reproductive system. This is vagina, the female copulatory organ. The mouth of the uterus is cervix here, and this is a womb, uterus, and these are fallopian tubules, and here is the ovary, right? During copulation, coitus, so semen will be discharged into the female reproductive system. The process of releasing semen into the female reproductive system is called insemination. The process is called insemination. During coitus, how much amount of semen will be discharged into the female reproductive system? Means it is 3 to 3.5 ml of semen will be discharged, right? Now this 3 to 3.5 ml of semen contains how many sperms? Means 200 to 300 millions of sperms will be there in this 3 ml of semen. What else? Secretions. What are other components of the semen means? So semen contains sperms, fructose, citric acid, prostaglandins, mucus, buffer, water and fibrinogen. All this is composition of the semen. Now, sperms are produced by the seminiferous tubules. Sperms are produced by seminiferous tubules, whereas all the seminal plasma will be secreted by the accessory glands. What are they? Seminal vesicles, then bulbourethral glands, prostate gland will help in secreting all these components. Now, the sperm has mitochondria in the body piece that helps or gives the energy for the sperm to swim. But the fructose and citric acid which are present in the seminal plasma will provide nutrition for the sperm to swim. Prostaglandins which are present in the semen, they help in uterine contractions. When the vagina contracts, then the sperms are pushed up. When the uterus contracts, then the sperms are pushed into the fallopian tube. So the peristaltic movements are required for the sperm to give a push-up force so that the sperms are going from this region to this region and from this region to this region. So which component of the semen will help in contracting the uterus? Means from the male partner side, it is prostaglandin. During coitus, the female also produces oxytocin. The oxytocin, which is a posterior pituitary hormone, it contracts the myometrial layer of the uterus. So that is also helping in contraction of the uterus, and prostaglandin is also helping in contraction of the uterus. So the sperm can easily make its path into the fallopian tube. Then mucus, which is present in the semen, acts as a lubricant for free flow of the sperms. And the vagina has acidic pH. It has lactic acid. Now sperms will die in the acidic medium. So the buffers which are present here, they neutralize the acidic pH. And water which is present in the semen acts as a medium for transport, for swimming of the sperms. And semen also contains fibrinogen, children. What is this fibrinogen helping? Means it acts as a clotting factor. It helps in attachment. See, if the semen is not clotted, it can't stay in the female reproductive system. It just drops down. Then fertilization chances will become less. If the fibrinogen can clot the semen, then the semen can attach to the vaginal walls, it can attach to the uterine walls. Then the chances of fertilization will get enhanced. So, I think you understood what is insemination. Releasing the semen into the female reproductive system is called insemination. This is the composition of the semen. 200 to 300 million sperms will be released at the time of coitus. But you know how many will reach the secondary oocyte? 200 will reach the secondary oocyte. Means 1% of this much amount, 200 sperms will reach the secondary oocyte. Of that, how many can fertilize? Only one can fertilize. 0.1% can fertilize with the egg, right? So this much you understood. Insemination process you understood. Now when we talk about the place where fertilization happens, point by point, let us see. So first take a screenshot, then I'll use this place and then we will be discussing about the process. Take a screenshot first. Right. Now I can erase this, right? You already took a screenshot. Now I can use this area for writing. Yeah. So when we have to tell where will fertilization occurs, means the site of fertilization is ampulla isthmus junction. This is a fallopian tube. The first part is called infundibulum. The funnel shaped structure is called infundibulum. This curved portion is ampulla. The narrow portion is isthmus. So site of fertilization is ampulla isthmus junction. This place, the sperm meets the egg and fertilization will happen. Now when we have to discuss what are the steps which leads to fertilization, means first one is the arrival of the sperm. What's the first point, children? It is arrival of sperm. What do you mean by arrival of the sperm? It's nothing but coitus. After coitus, the male will discharge semen into the vagina, into the female reproductive system, right? So that is called arrival of the sperm. It's because of coitus, which leads to insemination. It leads to insemination, right? How much amount of semen will be discharged? Just now we wrote 3 to 3.5 ml. How many million sperms are there in that? 200 to 300 million sperms will be there. Next one is the movement of the sperm. The next step will be, when the semen is discharged here, the next step will be movement of the sperm. Now, at what rate the sperm moves and what are the factors which help in the sperm movement, means sperm moves at the rate of 1.5 to 3.5 millimeters per minute. Sperm moves at the rate of 1.5 to 3.5 millimeters per minute. Initially, the vaginal contractions and the uterine contractions will help the sperm to move up. Later, the mitochondria of the sperm, the Nieberkin, the mitochondria in the sperm is called Nieberkin. The Nieberkin will provide the energy for the sperm to swim. Understood? So, the uterine contractions first they assist to reach the sperm towards the fallopian tube. Later, the sperm knows how to swim and it reaches the fallopian tube, right? So, movement of the sperm. Next one is arrival of the sperm towards the egg. Arrival of the sperm towards the secondary oocyte. Arrival of the sperm towards the secondary oocyte. Here we need to talk about a point called capacitation. What is that point? Capacitation. We need to understand what is capacitation. You can see the sperm here. Now this sperm is, this is the flagella of the sperm, the middle piece which is having mitochondria, a narrow neck, and this is the head which is having a male pronucleus. This is acrosome which is present at the tip of the head, which contains lytic enzymes, and on the plasma membrane towards the head, so the sperm is having sterols and glycoprotein particles coated on this. So when all these proteins are coated here, then that is not a capacitized sperm. In the next picture, you can see that we removed all these things, means this will be called as a capacitized sperm. That is capacitation. Now let's understand what is capacitation. As the sperm is trying to move in the female genital tract, the female genital tract will release certain secretions. The female genital tract will release certain secretions, which will, those secretions will attract the sterols and glycoproteins. The female genital tract secretions are attracting these sterols and glycoproteins. They are attracting the sterols and glycoproteins. Because they are attracting the sterols and glycoproteins, they will move from here and comes to the female reproductive system. As a result, the sperm's head will become free. The receptor site on the sperm head are now exposed. This process is called capacitation. Capacitation means it's a process where the sperm attains functional maturity. So, write down here, capacitation means it is the process where sperm attains functional maturity. It's a process where sperms attain functional maturity by losing the sterols and glycoproteins which are present on the surface of the head. Where is the sperm capacitized? In the female genital tract. Understood? So, when the sperm gets capacitized, it can freely swim into the fallopian tube. Meanwhile, what is happening? Arrival of the sperm towards the secondary oocyte. Now, menstrual cycle is of 28 duration cycle, lunar month. Mid of the menstrual cycle, on the 14th day, under the influence of luteinizing hormone, the Graafian follicle ruptures and the secondary oocyte gets released from the female gonad called ovary. This is ovary. Now, this is a ruptured Graafian follicle. From the ruptured Graafian follicle, what is this? This is the secondary oocyte which is released when? On the 14th day. Okay, in the presence of LH, we call it as LH surge. Now, this secondary oocyte will be collected by the fimbriae, the finger-like projections, that ciliary movement, they'll take the secondary oocyte into the fallopian tube. After this, after the ovulation happens, the sperm is viable only for 24 hours. After the egg, after ovulation, the egg is viable only for 24 hours. Within 24 hours, the egg should get fertilized. Within 24 hours, the egg should get fertilized. So, we can tell that the egg will be alive only for 24 hours. And the process of capacitation also, it will take 5 to 6 hours. The sperm to lose all these things so that it attains functional maturity, so that it can swim fast. For this, it takes 5 to 6 hours. And after ovulation, it can stay alive only for 24 hours. Now, the sperm got capacitized, the sperm is swimming and it came near towards the egg. Now, in this process of capacitation, calcium ions, because from here the glycoproteins and sterols are removed, the receptor sites are exposed. Calcium ions, influx of calcium comes into the sperm. This is also very important. If it gets calcium, it gets even more energy. So, I showed you here influx of calcium ions. Then, in the next step, what happens is the sperm releases certain chemicals that is called as acrosomal reactions. The fifth step, we can write it as acrosomal reactions. Next step, we can write it as acrosomal reaction. The capacitized sperm, where the receptors are exposed, now they can go and bind to the egg. This is an egg. And what is this? This is secondary oocyte. And this is capacitized sperm. Right? Now here, this is a vitelline membrane of the egg, the blue colored one. And this space is a perivitelline space, and the red colored one is a zona pellucida layer, and all these cells are corona radiata cells which are glued by a mucous substance called hyaluronidase. The green colored layer which is gluing all these cells is called hyaluronidase. We discussed how many capacitized sperms can reach the fallopian tube means 200 we told, 1% we told. So, here I drawed one sperm and here there are few sperms. These many sperms will reach the fallopian tube. Again, in that 8 or 10 sperms only will reach near to the egg. They will reach near the egg. Now, this is the secondary oocyte. What happens now? We are telling acrosomal reactions. The capacitized sperm releases various chemicals. Together, all the chemicals are called spermolysins. What are the chemicals called? Sperm lysins. So, the capacitized sperm through the acrosome ruptures and it is releasing sperm lysins. the three main components of the sperm lysine are, so the first one is called as corona penetrating enzyme. What's the first enzyme? Corona penetrating enzyme. This corona penetrating enzyme allows the sperm to penetrate at the corona. So that's why, see, at this place I did not draw the corona radiator cells, because the corona penetrating enzyme has dissolved the corona cells here, so that the sperm can penetrate. That is the first enzyme. And the second enzyme is hyaluronidase. The second sperm lysine is called as hyaluronidase. Hyaluronidase enzyme will dissolve this hyaluronic acid glowing substance, so that the corona radiator can be easily removed off. And the third enzyme will be called as zona lysine. What's the third enzyme? Zona lysine, which is also called acrosin. This zona lysine will help in dissolving the zona pellucida. All these three together are called as acrosomal enzymes. Together are called as sperm lysins. They help in sperm penetration into the egg. What are the three enzymes? One is called corona penetrating enzyme, which will help in disintegrating the corona radiata cells. The second one is hyaluronidase, which will remove the glowing hyaluronic acid, so that the corona radiata cells can be easily disturbed. The third one is zona lysine, which removes the zona pellucida layer. So this is called acrosomal reaction. And then here again we can tell the egg has a component called fertilizin. The sperm has a component called anti-fertilizin. So let me write down here on the egg. What is that called? Fertilizin will be there. And the sperm, in opposite, it has anti-fertilizin. Suppose if you bring any other animal sperm and if you try to send it into the human oocyte, it will not go, because they identify each other. The human sperm has anti-fertilizin and the human egg has fertilizin. Fertilizin, anti-fertilizin will help to identify the unique sperm, to identify its self sperm, which leads to fertilization. Understood? Now, we understood this is the female reproductive system. After insemination, the sperm went here. That is arrival of the sperm, coitus, insemination. Then sperm moves at a moment of 1.5 to 3.5 per minute. Then the sperm reaches the egg, means ovulation happened on the 14th day. Within 24 hours, the egg should get fertilized. For that, the sperm need to be capacitized first. Capacitation means removal of sterols and glycoproteins from the head region. So when we remove this, then it gets exposed. The receptor sites gets exposed, which also results in thinning of the acrosomal membrane, and influx of calcium makes it even more active. Then fertilizin, anti-fertilizin will help in identifying the uniqueness between both of them. Next one will be formation of reception cone. Take a screenshot. I'll use again this space so I can rub it. Take a screenshot fast. Right. So the next picture tells us that when the sperm is trying to penetrate the egg at that point, it projects out. That means it makes a cone called fertilization cone. So next we can write it as formation of reception cone. Our sixth point will be formation of fertilization cone. The point where the sperm is trying to penetrate inside, then what happens? The plasma membrane, the vitelline membrane of the egg projects and comes outside. So what is this called? This is called fertilization cone. What is this called? It is called fertilization cone. That is formed. That is the next step. Now, next step will be when the sperm comes and hits. when the sperm comes and tries to penetrate, at that point, in order to prevent polyspermy, this is the egg. Inner to the plasma membrane of the egg, cortical granules will be there. The secondary oocyte contains all these are the cortical granules. The cortical granules of the egg now move towards the plasma membrane, fuse with the plasma membrane and releases enzymes and secretions into the perivitallin space. I showed here the secretions are getting released, the enzymes are getting released into the perivitallin space. Now, when these secretions are released into the perivitallin space, then what happens? The zona pellucida becomes hard and it gets converted into a fertilization membrane. The zona pellucida becomes hard and it turns into a fertilization membrane. The zona pellucida turns into a fertilization membrane. So, what is that called? Cortical reaction. So, our next step will be cortical reaction. So, children, tell me, what is cortical reaction? After the egg receives the sperm, when the reception cone is formed, then the cortical granules which are present in the cortex region of the secondary oocyte, they move towards the plasma membrane, they fuse with the plasma membrane, they release their enzymes and chemicals into the vitallin space and they convert the zona pellucida layer into a hard layer so that it becomes a fertilization membrane. Once it becomes a fertilization membrane, other sperms cannot come. So means this fertilization membrane prevents polyspermy so that it ensures that one sperm will fuse with one egg. So cortical granules prevent polyspermy. It prevents polyspermy. So we have seen here that polyspermy is prevented. Other sperms cannot come here. Now next step will be the male pronucleus. The male pronucleus is sent inside. The male pronucleus is sent inside. At this point, we know that oogenesis got paused. Meiosis 2, it got paused in metaphase 2. Now at this point, we can see here that meiosis 2 will resume back. Meiosis 2 gets completed. It gets completed to make ova and the second polar body. This is the ova or the egg and this is the second polar body. It is an unequal division. When the sperm is trying to penetrate inside, so that shock will resume the meiosis 2 back. Metaphase 2 will continue, anaphase, telophase will continue. The secondary oocyte now makes an unequal division to make one ova and the second polar body. Now this second polar body will degenerate and the sperm, complete sperm will go inside? No. The sperm till the head region it goes inside. Till the head region it goes inside. The proximal centriole and the male pronucleus will go inside. Now then you can see here in this picture the next step, 8th step we can tell that meiosis 2 gets completed. Meiosis 2 gets completed and ova and second polar body are formed. Ova and the second polar body are formed. And in the next step, what we can tell is amphimixis. What do you mean by amphimixis? It is the fusion of the male nuclei with the female nuclei. As soon as the ova is formed, the female nuclei will come and fuse with the male nuclei. And the head region till the proximal centriole will go inside, whereas the mitochondria, the middle piece and the tail are left outside only. Only the head will go inside. Amphimixis means it is the fusion of male nuclei with female nuclei. Fusion of male nuclei with female nuclei. It's called amphimixis. It results in formation of zygote. Fertilization done. A zygote is now formed. Fertilization done. Zygote is now formed. First karyogamy, then afterwards after karyokinesis, cytokinesis will happen. nuclei got fused means it is called karyogamy, which is also called amphimixis, leads to formation of zygote. Now, where is the zygote formed? What is the site of fertilization? It is ampulla isthmus junction. Here the zygote will be formed. After insemination, how long the sperm will be alive in the female reproductive system? 24 to 48 hours. After ovulation, when the egg comes into the fallopian tube, how long it will be viable? 24 hours. For capacitation, how long it will take? 5 to 6 hours it will take. All these values you have to remember, right? So the zygote is formed. Now the next topic in NCERT is the sex of the baby, right? What is that? It is sex of the baby. Now take a screenshot if you want. Now we'll erase and then we'll go to the next topic, sex of the baby. Right? So these are the steps. First we told insemination. After insemination we told the sperm will reach, right? Sperm will move 1.5 to 3.5 motility. After that ovulation we told. After that capacitation we told. After capacitation we told acrosomal reactions. After acrosomal reactions, reception cone, fertilization cone formation. After that we told cortical reaction, preventing polyspermy. After that we told triggering of meiosis and formation of ova and the second polar body. After that sperm penetration, amphimixis, zygote formation. With this, hope you understood clearly fertilization. So our next step is sex of the baby. Can I erase this? Since it is sexual reproduction, we need sperm and egg. We need male gamete and female gamete. Let us discuss. Sex of the baby. The female parent and the male parent. Female parent has 22 autosomes, 22 pairs of autosomes. So let us write it as 44. 44 autosomes with X allosome. Females are homozygous. Whereas when we have to talk about males, males will have 44 autosomes with XY allosomes. So males are heterozygous, females are homozygous. Female will make egg. Okay. So during the time of oogenesis, the female will make an egg. Okay. It is a meiotic division. Means the egg will be haploid. Means 44 chromosomes half is, it takes 22 autosomes plus allosomes X and X. So it can give only X. So all the eggs will have only one allosome, which is called X. Now coming to spermatogenesis, the male formation of sperm, it is by meiotic division. The process is spermatogenesis. Here we can tell that two types of sperms will be formed. Two types of sperms will be formed. These are male gametes, right? So what are they? They are sperms. Now this sperm, 22 autosomes with Y chromosome. Another sperm, it can receive the other 22 autosomes with X chromosome. So female can produce only one type of egg. So the female can produce only one type of egg, whereas males produce two types of sperms. Males produce two types of sperms. Now, if there is fusion of this egg with this sperm, then we get one combination. If there is fusion of this egg with this sperm, there is another combination. Now, if these two fuse, then the zygote will be 22, 22, 44 autosomes plus X and X. 44 autosomes with X and X is a female, right? So this will be a girl child because females are homozygous. Now the other possibility is if this fuses with such a type of sperm which is having Y chromosome, then this zygote will have 22, 22, 44 autosomes plus X and Y. Now this X and Y condition is a male. So this will be a boy child. This will be a boy child. So that means who is deciding the sex of the baby? Is it the egg or the sperm? Mother can always give only the egg which is having X. So father only gives two types of sperms. So the sex of the baby we can tell is decided by the father. In humans, the sex of the baby is decided by father because males are heterozygous. Males are heterozygous. It is which sperm fuses with the egg will decide which child will come. If the sperm which is having Y chromosome fuses, boy child. If the sperm which is having X chromosome fuses, girl child. So in today's lecture, we discussed about fertilization and the sex of the baby. In the next topic, we will discuss cleavage implantation. Hope you are enjoying the lectures. Any comment? So you can post it in the comment box. If you like my lectures, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.